Just rather than it look like an agent, I may as well be an agent. So, colleagues, sisters and brothers and comrades, it's very hard to know what to say at a gathering like this. We can think up phrases to summarise things, we can think up slogans, and we can make enthusiastic speeches to cheer ourselves on. But the brutal reality is, as we're standing here, there's a man who's on the threshold of death. And he's on the threshold of death because of what has been done to him and his people by one of those evil regimes that I have ever known, the Zionist regime. It shows no spark of humanity. I don't believe that the pressure that we're putting on will be enough to force them. I don't believe the pressure throughout the world is enough to force them. They have defied United Nations rule after United Nations ruling. They've defied international courts. They have travelled abroad and forged our passports and other people's passports in order to murder people. Why would they care about the fate of one Palestinian in their custody who is on hunger strike? But of course, they're making the same mistake, the Israelis, when they do that. They're making the same mistake that Margaret Thatcher made. Margaret Thatcher thought that she would beat our people in the jails and break our people in the jails when she forced them on the hunger strike, rather than concede their basic demands for decent treatment and the restoration of political status. Well, she thought she would break them. She thought she would break the Republican struggle on that. But of course she didn't. And if we look at it today, we know exactly who came out, as far as history is concerned, the better of that battle. She said that the hunger strikers were playing their last card, and she thought that this was the defeat was staring them in the face. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't very long after that Britain started to make their concessions on their claims to our country. The Guildford 4, the Birmingham 6 were released. All of these things came as a result of the upsurge in support for Ireland that happened when people saw the brutality of the British state. We also saw the development of the peace process and all the things that have come from that. Whilst there's an awful lot more to be struggled for here, and an awful lot more to be done to establish human rights for everybody and to get just treatment for everyone in this part of the world, the fact is the British were driven back, and they were driven back by the heroism of every one of the hunger strikers and everybody who came out and supported them. So what we can do today is we can say to the Palestinian people, your fate is not forgotten about. We may not have the strength to beat Israel at this stage, but the fact of the matter is, any state that considers it to be its strength, that it will allow a person in its custody to starve to death, rather than allow them their human rights, that state isn't fit to exist, and that state will not continue to exist in this format, because it was bound to have to, it will be bound eventually to face the reality of what it's doing. Now, I think that everybody should try to I know that the support for Palestine is very widespread in this city in particular, and across Ireland in general. I know that the support is very widespread. I know that if we do work together, all the disparate people that are here, if we work together on the single issue of Palestine, we can produce a very, very spectacular number of people onto the streets on this issue. That in itself will not save this man's life, I'm sad to say, but that will at least demonstrate to himself and to his family and to others what people believe here. The sad thing, and we mustn't allow ourselves to be overcome by this, but I just always remember at this time that, somebody said it earlier, you're just afraid every morning what you're going to hear. Every time you turn on the radio, you're waiting to hear the announcement you don't want to hear. And I remember going through that in 1981 when I was in jail in England, and you had to wait overnight. You were locked up at night, you had no access to any news, and the next morning you just wondered what was going to happen the next day. Was another prisoner going to die? Was something going to happen? Was there going to be other problems around that? And it's a dreadful position to be in. It's even more dreadful for this man's family and this man's friends, his young daughter and his wife and so on, what they're going through. So what we can do as Irish people, what we can do as Irish Republicans, as socialists, as Democrats, as people who believe in solidarity with people throughout the world, we can at least make our voice heard and make it absolutely clear. Berry says this is unacceptable. As long as Zionism decides to rule that part of the world the way that it does, they're not welcome here. They're not welcome to sell their goods here. We will not buy their goods. We will not cooperate with them. We will not collaborate with them in any way. And we will reach the hand of friendship out to our Palestinian sisters and brothers. And we will walk with them until the day we can walk with them through the streets of Al-Quds, the capital of a free Palestine.